Hey everybody, I'm Creed and welcome to this video where I talk a little bit about myself and my art. And here's my video intro that'll show a little bit more of my art and what I do. So as you can see, the bulk of my work is based on the cartoons I used to watch as a kid. And that's what makes me happy, so that's what I draw. But I also still like to draw some horror stuff sometimes. And actually, that's what I'm going to put in the background here is one of my favorite horror pieces. It's going to be a re-ink because the original was drawn just with a Sharpie. I didn't even use a pencil, I just drew it straight Sharpie onto paper and no net below me. And it actually is one of my favorite things I ever drew. I just call it my barbarian zombie. So I'm going to run that in the background, but I'm going to talk about a lot of different stuff. So I live in Atlantic, Canada, right on the coast. And my biggest inspiration is the 80s. When I was just sitting on the couch, eating some cereal, watching cartoons all Saturday morning. And before I discovered drawing cartoon stuff, I mostly just drew horror stuff, but not as often as I would like. And I always had a few pieces of cartoon stuff that I really wanted to draw. And when I finally got around to doing it, I realized how much joy I got from it. And that started a giant ball rolling. And now I draw so much cartoon stuff. And I just finished a giant project based on cartoon villains. I drew 100. And I can really see the improvement from the start of the series to the end. It's really done wonders for my art. And my new project, which I actually haven't even really mentioned on video, is a book. I'm working on a book, and it's going to be the ultimate guide to the cartoons of Saturday morning 1980. And it's going to be heavily illustrated by me. Every piece of art's going to be mine, and it's just going to have a ton of information about the shows and characters. It's really going to be something special once I get it finished. So when I started my cartoon villain series, I sort of invented my own process. I didn't really look up how to do digital inks or digital colors or anything like that. Basically what I do, all my art is on paper with pencil, but that's just a third of it because then the inks and the colors are digital. So all I do is I go into Photoshop and I start with the black shape and then I just cut out all the white pieces. And then I'd say 80% of the work on all my art is to get the style I want. I want the lines to be super smooth. So it's just going through and making sure every line is super smooth, and that takes quite a few hours actually. So all of my art, each piece takes between a day and 2 days usually. I spend a lot of my time on likeness and then the rest of my time on line quality really. And I'm not a colorist, but I do know where the colors go and what they should be, so that's what I do. I think I've really come up with a pretty unique style, and even when I draw lots of different stuff and even with the likenesses from the shows, I still think my art has its own look, which I'm very proud of. And it took me a long time to get it exactly how I want it. And a big part of me making this video is to introduce myself, because I'm going to start posting on Steemit.com. And all these links I mentioned I'm going to put below. Basically I'm branching out into some other sites on social media and just out on the web in general. And I think I found some really good ones. Steemit looks like an excellent community, so I'm going to include video, picture, and text, and hopefully they'll be really cool. Another new site I've recently joined is Minds.com. And I've just started there, but I've also already got a few subscribers, lots of views. They have a really great system that rewards you and gives you views based on just using the site. It's sort of the opposite of Facebook. You're working for Facebook. Minds.com works for you. So I recommend you check it out if you get a chance. Also, I'm a big fan of DeviantArt. I've been on there a long time. It's been a great motivator for my art. I have a pretty loyal audience of cartoon fanatics over there, And it's nice to know that somebody's waiting to see what you're going to draw next. So all my new stuff always goes up on DeviantArt. All of my art's up there. And I mentioned Facebook. I have not abandoned Facebook. Actually, my fan page is more popular than ever. It just passed 9,000 likes. And what I do is I post my art there. But when I started to make it popular was in between my art, I post a lot of retro posts. Mostly from the 80s, but some 90s and other times too. It's just like my cartoon work. The bulk of it is 80s. The second largest category would be 90s, and then everything else is included. So those are all the best places to find me and my art. Not to mention, of course, YouTube. So I really wish I would draw more horror stuff, but I'm an inspiration artist, and inspiration has to come to me. And I can easily get inspiration on cartoons just by watching some shows. So that's why the bulk of my work is based on cartoons. Finishing my 100 cartoon villains is one of my great lifetime achievements. And actually now it's just got me more geared up for my next project, which is this book. And I'm currently working on finishing a sample with 2 entries, just so I'll have something to show when I say I'm making a book. I can say, well, it's going to be like this, and I'll have those entries. And I'm going to give that away, so stay tuned. Like, you'll be able to download and check that out when it's finished. I think one of my favorite things about drawing characters that are tied to people's nostalgia is when I draw something really obscure that someone out there thinks they might be the only one to remember this show, and it only ran a few episodes, or it was on a channel most people didn't have, and then they see that I drew him. It's that fireworks that goes off in your brain, like, wow, I remember that now, and I forgot it for years. It used to be my favorite thing. When I can do that to somebody just by drawing somebody I love, that's where I get my pure joy out of my art. It's just people's reaction to especially the obscure character. So even my cartoon villain series has a lot of obscure characters that I like to mix in. Now I have to do the popular ones, and I like those too. If I did just the obscure ones, nobody would ever, I'd get no traffic, no eyeballs on my art. But I really like to do deep dives into cartoon history. Like I have some obscure guys like Horg from the Monchi-Chis. I have the Shrinker from the Mighty Heroes. The Mangler from an episode of the Flintstones. I did the Insectoid Invader #1 from the Incredible Hulk, the 80s cartoon. I've got Hornswoggle from the Gary Coleman Show. And I drew guys like Flaps the Elephant from Bonkers, Terron from the Mighty Hercules, Nazgar from RoboForce. Just a lot of really obscure, cool villains that you may not know about. And then of course I have all the popular guys: Megatron, Skeletor, Demona, Zoltar, Psykill. Lots of great villains that everybody's heard of. So I like to do a mix. And now that series is finished, I'm putting the bulk of my effort into this book. But I'm also starting soon Volume 2, where I want to do another 100 cartoon villains, and I have at least another 100. I could probably do this 5 times and still not run out of guys. There are just so many great cartoon villains, and there's just something I really love about the villains. I don't know what it is. Just something super appealing about it. And for a couple of years, that's all I was drawing. If I did a drawing, it was a cartoon villain. But a little over the halfway point, I decided to open things up, because my idea was I had to stay on cartoon villains, or if I got interrupted, I might not get back to it. And I really, really wanted to get to 100. But when I got a sense that I was going to finish and this wouldn't distract me to draw other things, then I started to draw just general cartoon characters, good guys, vehicles, lots of other stuff in general. And actually now I have over 100 of those, and it's not really a series, it's just a bulk of work. So now when I look at my DeviantArt gallery and I see how much stuff I've actually drawn, and this was my whole plan to start with, I was like, I really want a giant pile of work. And I've built up the habit of drawing all the time. I'm not one of those people that sketches. I've never used a sketchbook. I don't like to sketch. Sketching is time that I could be making art. And I know that's a little unusual, because a lot of artists say, oh, you have to sketch to get better. You have to make art to get better, I think. The more art you make, the better you get. Learn as you go. It's the difference between going to school and going to on-the-job training. I'd rather the on-the-job training. I put a lot of my effort into getting that exact cartoon likeness where somebody's gonna go, it's just gonna hit them like bam, that's that guy from the show. It's not like, well, that's how somebody could draw that guy from the show, and it doesn't look like somebody else in his outfit and his hairstyle. It's that guy. It's him. It's not recast. It's not like I'm drawing a cosplayer. I'm drawing the actual guy, the character we all see on the show. And that's really important to me. I don't want sort of some kind of artistic representation of the guy. I want the guy. And a lot of people don't do that, and a lot of people put down my branch of fan art that I have found for myself, because they'll say, well, you're not adding your own thing. I add my style. The guy's not squished more than he's supposed to be, or everything's not elongated. I don't change the style he's done in. I change the style of line. And nobody will say that my art looks exactly like the cartoon, because I use my own style of line and shape and form. Very, very heavy on the black as I can be. I've actually lightened up on that over time, because I realized I need to use a little more white space, because these characters are brightly colored. And I need to have space to allow for those colors to bring out that character. So I've gotten used to that. But when I started really dark. So right now I have a working list of the cartoons that ran either the 79-80 season or the 80-81 season, because I count those both as 1980. And what I'm trying to do is illustrate everything from the show that I would want to use in the entry for it in the book. So that's what I'm working on right now, and it's a pretty big project. I don't know when it'll be finished, but it's going to be really cool. I'm just trying to get that sample made with the 2 entries right now. Now, for this barbarian zombie, it's funny because I actually drew just a part of his face. I think it was mostly the jaw, which I really like. But then I wasn't sure where to go. Like I said, I didn't use pencil. I just was putting the marks on with a marker and seeing how the drawing would go. And so I stopped for a few days and I put it away. And I was pretty sure I wasn't going to go back to it. I was like, that was an interesting little doodle I did. And then one day it just sort of struck me. I was like, I know what I want to do with this. So then I drew all the rest of it. And it came out amazing. But the problem with Sharpie on paper is the line quality is not sharp and smooth. It might even look pretty sharp and smooth on a piece of paper, but if you scan it, you'll see that line is a jagged mess. And a lot of people don't mind that, but that drives me nuts. So what I decided to do was go in and digitally re-ink the piece, and that's what I'm doing right here. And it's come out awesome. And actually I am proud to announce that this is the first piece I have put up on my new Redbubble account. And Redbubble sells merchandise. You can get stickers, which is probably my favorite product they have. You can get stickers of my art now, which is awesome. But they have mugs, t-shirts, phone cases, lots of stuff. And of course that link will be below too. If you want to buy some merchandise, I would super appreciate you supporting my art. And that just makes it easier for me to continue and keep making more art. So this has gotten a little rambly. That's basically my introduction to myself. If you want to know who the hell this Creed guy is, that's sort of the story in a nutshell. I'm all about my art. So I really hope you like this video, and please stay tuned to any of the places I list below. I'm on all of them, and so is my art. And I love when people are excited by something that I drew. It's just, that's what I do it for. That little charge of excitement that people get. So thanks for watching, and until next time, take her easy.